going to do a super chill ski today, working on very, very gentle V2. Getting my arms a bit higher and having a little bit more tempo. Instead of coming through more, I'm focusing on a higher up. We'll see if I can actually achieve that. This kitten is in hunting mode. What are you hunting, Fox, huh? What are you hunting up on your perch? What are you doing? Is it too hot? Is it too hot? Poor mama. Look at that cream filling. Oh no, you're overheating. The cream filling is spilling out. Oh, woozy. Oh, woozy. I had to cut my roller skis short this evening because I hit a piece of gravel. My ski stopped dead and I went down onto my head in an instant. It's the first time I've smacked my head on the pavement on roller skis, and that was terrifying. The helmet took the brunt of it. My hand took a good chunk of the force as well. That was the next thing to hit. I broke a pole, and then I ripped up this arm, dragged on the pavement, dragged my knee on the pavement. But the helmet took the brunt of the force. I'm bummed about the pole, but that's roller skiing. You fall regular skiing, so it's only a matter of time before you fall roller skiing. And with all the gravel on the road now from the rain, it washes out of people's driveways and then gets stuck in tires and released all over the road. So you can't just expect it at the end of a driveway. It also gets carried around. And you never know when you're going to hit a piece. Same color as the road. Anyway, it's all good. I'm in shock a bit. I also dragged my chest. All right, I'm gonna go head to the Dollar Tree to buy some bandages. Decided not to build a shed over here, and instead I'm going to extend the parking area so we can put 3 cars over here easily. So, moving gravel. Looking pretty good. I'm about to do something that I haven't done in a long time. Run up a mountain. Yesterday's roller ski crash kind of shook me up. It was a pretty hard impact and it could have gone horribly wrong. I got lucky. So I'm going to take a little break. My leg is kind of sore from where I hit. So no roller skiing today. Gonna see how my toe does on a little mountain run. Gonna do a short one, maybe 4 miles, and just get out into the woods. It's been a long time since I've been out in the woods. And what's most interesting to me is that an activity that used to define me, being in the woods for hours a day and really creating the opportunity for me to experience myself in a more expansive way, as I was driving in, I'm scared. I'm scared of taking the first step on this trail. And that's fascinating to me. Something that I used to look forward to every day is now suddenly frightening. And being inside on my elliptical machine is so much more appealing. And that just sounds like craziness to me, but that's the reality that has now become my norm. So I'm gonna take a very, very gentle first step onto this trail and just see what happens. Trail starts out as a rocky road with like a 12 to 15% grade, and I'm feeling okay. My leg is a little sore from the roller ski crash, but other than that, it feels kind of normal. There's Mount Greylock, highest mountain in Massachusetts. Beautiful. Love the view up here. You can see the Catskill Mountains in New York faintly in the background there, where the escarpment race took place last weekend. That was a lot of fun and surprisingly easy. In fact, I ran up the steepest slopes without any feeling of fatigue, something that when I was training just as a runner was very difficult to do, just to run up. I often hiked up those slopes because they're 30 to 40% with stone stairs, but today I flew up and didn't even notice it. So my legs are very, very strong from the elliptical on the new higher resistance that I'm doing, and also ski training, a lot of roller skiing. So I'm excited to see what's possible this fall, hop into some cross-country races, hopefully do some more running. Toe feels good, so the brake, I imagine, is good to go. Whatever was going on in my right foot feels fine. The left ankle, which is the reason I stopped running and started skiing, no problem there. So I don't want to overdo it, but so far so good. I built a cairn on top of the mountain to better hold the sign and also to give you kind of a platform to stand on to get a better view. And as I was walking away, I noticed that growing out of my cairn are some wild blueberries. Yay! And even though my blueberries at home are done, these look delish. Oh yeah, they're perfectly ripe. Nothing like mountain blueberries. Oh, they're all over. I see some bushes all around the cairn. Yum. Tiny, but sweet. The ground under every spruce I look under is covered in blueberries. I've never seen it like this before. We've had the worst blueberry season ever for cultivated berries, but I've never seen this many wild berries in the mountains. So strange. This is another great example of prediction error. As my identity was modeling what this experience was going to be like, it said, not good, avoid it. And I've been avoiding it for a really long time. And this is where I feel most at home. This is where I feel most alive. Out here in the mountains. I used to do this every single day, year round. And my prediction was wrong. This has been a really wonderful experience. I spent quite a bit of time on the summit, just hanging out, listening to silence, or at least human silence. You can hear a plane going overhead now, but for maybe 20 minutes there was nothing at all. So we have to be so careful of our predictions, of our modeling, what we think something is going to be like, because we're almost always wrong. And no matter how much I study and no matter how much I practice this, those predictions still have a lot of sway. They still influence many of my decisions, even though I know they're wrong. So you just gotta step out of the prediction, step out of your sense of knowing, and just allow yourself to not know. What's gonna happen if I point myself towards that trail? I don't know. What's gonna happen if I take a step up the mountain? I don't know. How's it gonna feel? I don't know. Turns out it felt great. Although my right quad, which got hammered yesterday on the roller ski crash, is feeling pretty tight, so I'm not gonna run down because running down puts an enormous load on your quads. So I'm just gonna hike down the mountain and just be in the woods. What a treat. There's a moose on the loose, which is a rare sighting these days. The ticks have pretty much destroyed our moose population. So you almost never see them anymore. It's a real shame. Having a little morning snack. Oats with Kos protein. And that's a somewhat common snack for me. you doing? Are you playing? Are you playing? Come on over. Come on. Come on over, let's play. You're cute. Come on. It's okay. Yeah, there you go. It's okay. Come and play. Come and play with me. Oh. All right, we'll play later, okay? We'll play later. You want to run around? Good morning from Stratton, Vermont. I'm about to run up Stratton Mountain against the U.S. Nordic ski team and the Stratton Mountain professional team, SMS T2. So you've got Jessie Diggins here, Olympic gold medalist. You've got Julia Kern, one of the best sprinters in the world, and the guys as well. I'm not sure which guys are showing up, but really extraordinary athletes here today. And some very good runners as well. So I'm gonna see how well I can run up a mountain against some super fit Nordic skiers without having run for months. I ran a couple days ago, but that was the first time since June 24th when I broke my toe. And even then, when I did a couple runs in late June, I hadn't run for well over a month prior to that. So elliptical and roller skiing, we'll see how that does to get me up that mountain, which you can't see. It's taller than the condos there, trust me. Ben Ogden from Landgrove, Vermont.
Yes, indeed.
I raced with Ben's dad at Middlebury back in the 80s.
Yeah.
So Ben, you were just the World Cup champ under 23.
Indeed, yeah.
So how does that feel?
Oh, it was a fabulous feeling, you know. It was a crazy, wasn't a huge goal of mine, but once I got into the season and realized it was maybe possible, it became a lot of fun to chase it. So I was glad I was able to be successful.
Any plans going forward? Yeah, did that kind of put a fire under you?
Oh yeah. I'm just gonna keep racing, keep training hard, keep looking for the next thing, you know.
All right, so I'm an older athlete getting back into skiing in my 50s.
Okay.
So I'm curious as to how you train now, because when we were training in the 80s, it was very different. So what's your breakdown of running to roller skiing to strength to cycling?
I do more and more roller skiing as the season goes on. So I do a lot of running at the beginning of the season, a lot of biking, and then by the time fall comes around, I do a lot of running. So, yeah.
And how important is
Or do a lot of
strength?
roller skiing, excuse me. Yeah.
How important is strength to your routine now?
Strength is huge, you know, but it's not like not a big volume aspect, but it's an important supplement. So we do it twice a week normally, and try and do a lot of core, a lot of jumps, keep the body happy.
Do you do ski erg or anything like that?
I don't, if I can help it. I don't find it very fun.
And technique, how much time do you guys spend on technique?
We do a lot, you know. All of us have technique goals, and we try and focus on them in the summertime. And you know, it kind of varies, but yeah, we do it when we can, when it makes sense.
Are you going to New Zealand this fall, or are you staying?
I'm not. Some of these guys are, but I'm gonna stick around. I'm gonna go to Sweden for some roller ski races and stuff.
Sweet. When is that?
That'll be mid-August.
Mid-August. Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, Ben, thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you.
That was a really tough race, my God. Ben Ogden took it out so hard, and there was a huge pack of guys and women that went with him. And I kind of stayed smart. I'm really good on the steep sections, and the first mile was maybe 20 to 40% slope, really, really steep. And I just kept catching people as the race went on. I was able to run the whole thing. Even the super steeps, my elliptical training really makes me strong for the steep stuff. So I started reeling in people, passed more and more. And then I kind of got into a zone where I didn't pass anybody anymore. And Luke Rizzio from the Mount Anthony High School team where I live, he was in my sights. and I was running with Kendall Kramer, who I think she's from Alaska. I did some roller ski sprints with her at Craftsbury, I don't know, a month or so ago, which was a lot of fun. So I ran with her for most of the race, keeping Luke in sight, but then the last half mile, my wheels came off, Kramer pulled away, Chip Freeman passed me, Luke Rizzio got away, and then right at the very end, maybe with a quarter mile to go, I hear breathing behind me, and I know the sound of that breathing. I've watched so many races where I've heard Jessie Diggins breathing, so I could hear her coming up on me because there's voice in her breath, which is kind of fun. And then she pulled up right next to me, and I was like, "Go, Jessie," and she grunted something. And as she pulled away in the last 200 meters, she wasn't running so much as she was classic striding. Like she was really throwing her legs straight back in front of her like she was on skis, which is kind of like my Bigfoot stride, which is really, really interesting. Anyway, she pulled away and hammered the last, say, 150 meters. I don't know, maybe got me by 10 or more seconds, 10, 15 seconds. But it was fun to see her racing with that stride. She is tough. She was working hard. Anyway, I'm happy with it. No run training. And I'm finishing close to Jessie Diggins. Overall, it was a big success today. I don't do anything hard. I don't do speed work. I rarely get my heart rate up. Everything I do is incredibly gentle. I'm 160 pounds now, so I'm carrying a lot more weight than I did when I was training as a runner. And I did well today. So, yeah, exciting, big success. Quick stop at the studio post-race, and now I'm off to New York City to pick up the Swede. She's going to be visiting me for a month, and yeah. I'm also going to be starting a new book in the car, Gender Trouble by Judith Butler, which I tuned into Judith's work back at Middlebury. I took some women's studies classes, and I'm curious to revisit her work now because she's one of the foundational elements of modern feminism. At least that's how it's currently perceived. So, off to New York. It's about 3.5 hours to the city, probably an hour to get across the city to get to JFK Airport, and then back home with a Swede in tow. Taking a break on the trip. I've decided I'm going to stop every hour to stretch my legs, walk a little bit. I don't want the race to settle into my legs and things to get tight and potentially injured. So, thought I'd take an opportunity to talk about this book, Gender Trouble, a little bit. This is early in the postmodern stage of literature, we'll call it, nonfiction or otherwise, where there was definitely an understanding that confusing your audience was useful. In fact, Judith Butler even says so in this book, that her goal is to confuse, her goal is to disrupt, her goal is to take away any sense of solid, stable ground that people are standing on when they think about sex, identity, and gender. And I recognize the value of that, but I see it more as a political strategy in this instance, and she pretty much overtly says that. And I'm much more interested in just unpacking topics, unpacking ideas, unpacking things that we just take for granted, what might be considered normative. Taking a look at it in more detail and seeing where it might actually have some use. Maybe it allows us to stay in a lower energy state as individual beings. Maybe it allows the society as a whole to fall into a lower energy state. There's less tension, there's less drama. But then there are other things that are simply culturally habitual that no longer work, and they don't allow us to find that low energy state. They keep us in a place of tension, and we definitely want to unpack those things, talk about them, and potentially disrupt, change, and modify them. But if your goal is to confuse, then you don't allow people to follow along with the ideas that you're unpacking. And you create somewhat of an impenetrable text that, because of its impenetrability, ends up becoming scripture decades later rather than a discussion. So that's where this book stands now. It was written in 1990. And when I was a senior at Middlebury in 1990, I was tuning into a lot of her thoughts and work. And in the 3.3 decades since, this book is now scripture. It's not a discussion. It's not philosophy anymore. It's the truth, and it's not to be unpacked or discussed or potentially evolved. So that I find a bit problematic, and I really wish that her work was more available to someone to engage with without having to do mental gymnastics to try to unpack what she's saying, because she's making every sentence as complicated as humanly possible on purpose so as to confuse. Stop doing that. I've got in the habit of doing something, even if it's just a couple reps every day if I can. Tuesday was good pull-up day. 10 is not even close to my maximum, but I can feel it. It actually feels good. And to crank out that many sets of 10 is exciting. Dips, 8 is pretty easy for me, but it wasn't in the beginning. It's taken a long time to get there. Some polling on Wednesday. Thursday, knees to bar and bench press on my Nordic Flex machine. Friday, neutral pull-ups, real gentle. But my arm is hurting. So, I don't know. I may be taking a break from pull-ups. See if I can make a doctor's appointment. And dips, just to do something to move things around. A little bit of polling. The race at Stratton. And then today, some more dips, but not much. Just a little bit of stimulation. Even though I'm not a fan of time-bound narratives, I am somewhat relieved that this week has come to an end. Blueberry season was a wash, and I pulled the plug on picking, so even though my income is way through the floor this summer, it's nice to not be stressed about blueberries and dedicating 3 to 4 hours every day to pick. Then yesterday I went to New York to pick up the Swede. She's going to be here for a month. So it's nice to have all that preparation for her visit out of the way. Also nice to have the New York City trip behind me. Crazy driving in that city, absolutely insane. Took me 90 minutes to get from the Bronx to JFK Airport. 90 minutes. Anyway, I'm gonna go home, get some dinner, and have some Swede time. All right, see you next week.